You're now tuned in to the Week 17 Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Amalean, both from the cross, and Stat Guy Matt. Remember, trust no one except for these guys.
What's good, everybody? It's still week 2 of 17, and we are back for our second podcast of the week. I'm your host, Fourth from the Cross. You can just call me Fourth for short.
And I'm ready to kick off week 2. It's your boy Amalean, a.k.a. the Mexican football guy.
Yep, Stat Guy Matt here. Looking forward to talking sit 'em, start 'em today.
Nice. So did everybody get who they wanted on the waiver wire?
Dude, I was surprised of Mahomes was still out there, guys. They sleeping on him, and I know it's probably just one game, but hey, like I said, Mahomes is a truth. I picked him up, and he's going to be riding my bench until I feel like I have to put him, or if my quarterback gets hurt.
Yeah, I had second priority, but I liked my team pretty well still after week 1. Even though I didn't put up a W, I used the priority on a defense.
Okay, nice. I picked up Kenny Galladay. Took some of your advice, Matt.
Very good.
Yeah, I kind of like that guy. You know, any receiver that can score over 100 yards is a friend of mine.
Yes.
But all right, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Start 'em, sit 'em,
Pick 'em! All right, so this segment, just to give you guys a brief overview of what we do, we're not going to give you any information that is already out there. What we're going to do is take that information that we see out there, such as NFL.com's Start 'em, Sit 'em, and we basically pick them apart, Well, not all of them, just, I guess some of the picks that we feel like are, a little iffy.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and start off the first one. The first one was listed as a QB that was in the Stardom section. His name is Jimmy Garoppolo. He is playing Matt's Detroit Lions.
Ouch.
First off, I never believed he was good to begin with. He didn't prove anything different last week. And he lost his starting running back along with his best wide receiver this season. And I think the Lions are looking to get back on track. So I would not start Jimmy Garoppolo this week.
Yeah, this is a sit 'em for me too, Fourth. I agree with you. The defense of the Lions is not as bad as that score indicated. There were a lot of points that were scored off turnovers against the Jets. So I don't think that that Lions defense is nearly as bad, and I think they're going to give Garoppolo some trouble.
All right, guys, my sit-em, well, not my sit-em, but the sit-em they had up today was Matt Ryan versus the Carolina Panthers. Man, I know he played horrible this Thursday against the Eagles, but I think it gives them enough time to, go into the film room, study what happened, and fix that. And, history says that when Matt Ryan goes against the Carolina, he averages 26 completed passes for 315 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0.5, interceptions, but we don't get into those 0.5. So, yeah. And then also, it was the Cowboys going against Carolina. So, yeah, it made their defense look good, but no, to me, I'm starting Matt Ryan. I'm giving him another shot, and we'll see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that as well. They played Thursday. I think that's more than enough time for the coaches to realize what they are doing wrong in the red zone. I mean, I think the fans can tell you that they need to find a better way to get Julio Jones the ball. And that's all I got for that.
Especially in the red zone.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So next one, I guess we can move on. We're going to move on to the wide receivers. We did see a pick in there about stardom. It was Nelson Aguilar versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know a lot of people like Nelson. I kind of like him too, but just not when Nick Foles is there. I feel like the Eagles' passing game sucks overall this year, and I wouldn't start any wide receiver until Wentz comes back. If you're in PPR and you need like a flex or something, I guess that's probably like the only scenario where I would use Nelson. But other than that, I would sit him versus start him.
Yeah, I am going to disagree with you here, Fourth. I'm going to agree with the NFL.com experts on this one. I like Aguilar's situation here. I think Foles seems to have good chemistry with him. If I'm not mistaken, I think he led the team in receptions or at least targets in week 1 or was tied with Ertz, something like that. So He didn't turn those opportunities into a lot of points, unfortunately. Low yardage, not many touchdowns, or no touchdowns, but eventually you get that many targets, you're going to turn it into something.
Start 'em, sit 'em,
Pick 'em!
All right, guys. So we're going to talk about Chris Hogan versus Jacksonville. To me, guys, I'm sitting him. Dude, he's going against Ramsey and the company. If he couldn't even get going against the Texans, what makes you think he's going to go against, Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the top freaking defense? Even though Odell Beckham had over 100 and something yards, but that was just over there. And the Giants only have one wide receiver. Okay, that's it. Okay, you come over here with the Patriots. Patriots have multiple options. I don't see it. One catch, 11 yards, 5 targets. To me, it's garbage. Maybe he's not healthy. Maybe he's not ready. I don't know. But to me, I'm not starting this guy, especially not against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a tough defensive matchup, but I think you got to. This time last week, I think most of us still thought Hogan was going to be the main guy with Edelman out over there. It's kind of a surprise that Philip Dorsett has a big week 1, but I think it'll be interesting to see how the Patriots decide to spread the ball around this coming week.
Yeah, and I see this being a low-scoring game as well, so We'll see.
For sure. Amalean, why don't you go ahead and take that next one too?
All right, so Jack Doyle versus the Washington Redskins. All right, so guys, here it's there's a committee out there. All right, so it's him and emSit'em. I would start Jack Doyle just for the reason that he was he got the most red zone targets over there. And then they're going against the Redskins. The Redskins right now are number 7 for, letting tight ends, get the most receiving yards, and Jack he was 7 for 60. emSit'em was 4 for 51. I know he had that touchdown, but I'll just stick with Jack here. It's a committee, but if I had to pick one, I'm going with Jack.
Yeah. I might sit him. I mean, I might not actually sit him, but I'm still crushing on Eric Ebron kind of hard from last week. It was one of my picks that panned out for me. Ebron made me look good with that touchdown catch. I think Doyle's probably going to continue to see more targets than Ebron, so he's probably a decent start, but I'll say sit him for the sake of being devil's advocate here.
Okay. Me, I have a sit-em. His name is Antonio Gates. That's who they listed as a sit-em online. The fantasy experts did. Only problem with that is Antonio Gates is playing the Buffalo Bills. I foresee the San Diego Chargers in the red zone a lot, only because the Buffalo Bills offense sucks. And I think they'll end up, in a lot of 3 and outs because the San Diego Chargers defense is pretty good. So there will be a lot of scoring going on in this game, but only for the Chargers, that is.
Yeah, I see a lot of scoring, but I don't see coming towards Antonio Gates, man. This is one of those games. It's touchdown or bust. I'm going to sit him. I think Virgil Green he'll get the most out of it. I think Antonio Gates is just there because he's, San Diego guy, and he's just there just to fill up a roster spot. But I don't see him getting any receptions, any touchdowns.
Start 'em, sit 'em,
pick 'em. So I think last thing we need to go over is some running backs. Amalean, you want to take that?
All right, running backs. So, okay, first one up, they had Carlos Hyde. They have him on stardom. I'm sitting him. I'm benching him. I'm not even going to think about even putting him on the flex. I know he's the number 1 running back over there. It shows it, but, bro, this Saints defense, I think they were just up to a surprise against Fitzpatrick, so it kind of threw everybody off. But they're going to come prepared this week. They're going to shut the running game. And, man, I say he probably only goes for about 30, 40 yards. But, no, it's going to be probably a shootout. So, no, I'm sitting him.
I'm going to agree with you on that. Peyton Barber, he only had 69 yards on 19 carries. And, I mean, I think he might be the better back over Carlos Hyde, or at least on the better team. I'm not sure Hyde will do any more damage than that, especially when the Browns seem to be more of a committee. Also, keep in mind, after last week's game versus the Bucs, the game plan will probably be throw all over the Saints. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? So next one, he was listed as a sit-em. You guys know I've been high on this guy since the season started. I feel like he didn't really get his opportunity. It's going to be Kenyon Drake versus the New York Jets. Kenyon, like I said before, he could produce against anybody. Towards the end of the last season, Miami played Denver. Denver was the number 5 rushing defense in the league, and he still put up 120 rushing yards and a touchdown. And also keep in mind that Miami game last week was a mess because of the weather, and New York defense probably isn't as good as it seemed on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm not sure NFL.com got this one wrong. I think I won't name names here, but one person on this podcast drafted this guy, and two other guys on this podcast laughed while the pick was being made. So, we'll see who the experts are after this. But Frank Gore had almost 50% more yardage than Kenyon Drake did, and on half as many carries this past week. And I think that's one of the concerns about Drake going forward is there's going to be a little bit of a timeshare there.
Yeah. So what I have to say about this is that he started as a backup and he's still there.
Oh, y'all hating on my boy Kendrick.
Yep.
Man, all right. Kenyon, my bad.
The Frank Gore project over there, guys, it's a thing. It's a thing. And it showed it last week. Okay. So like I said, and it started as a backup and he's still there.
I'm gonna give that the buzzer.
The reason you're saying this because you need him to go off this week. That's why you need him to go off, and guess what? He is not.
I put a lot of stock in this guy. All right, back up.
That stock is falling. All right, so
Start 'em, sit 'em,
pick 'em.
All right, guys. So one thing we do not do here is we do not talk about a defense. We do not talk about a kicker. Okay, if you need us to get down and dirty and start talking about the defense and the kicker, maybe you need a little bit more of a fantasy help, or maybe fantasy football is not your thing. But if you do have a question about a defense, week 17, all right, hit us up and we'll answer it if we can. All right.
I like that.
All right, guys, our stardom pick 'em. All right. These are our picks, the picks that we feel that these guys are going to go off. They're going to do their thing. My pick for this week is Eli Manning versus the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. And guys, even though I'm from Houston, I do not hate on the Cowboys. I have nothing against the Cowboys, but we are going to spank that when we play y'all Sunday night. Okay. But all right. So check this out. Okay. The Cowboys looked terrible. Okay. Cam Newton went out there, lit them up, did their thing. And Eli Manning is going to go out there with Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's probably going to put about 160 yards with about 2 touchdowns. He's going to shine. He's going to shine as a starter. So make sure you put him out there as your starting quarterback this week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, so keep in mind, guys, these picks that we're making, I mean, they're not any that we've seen online. So they're going to be, extra picks that you can, that you're probably looking for that you didn't see. For example, this is another stardom by us, Adrian Peterson versus Indianapolis Colts. This is the one pick that's made me look like an expert so far, AP looks to be on the team with the NFL's top rushing attack. Him and Chris Thompson, I believe they tore it up last week. I mean, there was more than enough to go around. And honestly, Adrian Peterson looks like he can do it all. The Colts made Mixon. I don't like Joe Mixon. He looks like they made him look like a star. I mean, what do you think Peterson's going to do to them?
Yeah. So my next pick 'em here is Texas Tech Raider, my guy, Michael Crabtree. Okay. Against Cincinnati Bengals. Guys, last week, he tore up the Bills. I know it's the Bills, okay? And I see him doing the same thing against the Bengals. Last week, they gave up 319 passing yards with 2 touchdowns, all right? That's going to repeat. It's going to repeat this week. It's going to repeat tomorrow, okay? Start Crabtree, put him in your flex, all right? He's going to have about 120 yards with 1 touchdown. Let's go.
Yeah, I've got one start for you. It pains me to say it, but it's my silver lining from the Lions beatdown on Monday night. I think Isaiah Crowell showed that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. He's a guy I owned in the past. I know he's sharing a backfield with Bilal Powell, but he did a lot more with his touches this past week. I think he went for over 100 yards, had a couple of scores. So I expect that against the Dolphins, he'll continue to do quite well.
Yeah, and I really think that rookie quarterback is going to scare a couple of defenses. And, they're going to think he's going to throw it out there. That's what's going to make Crowell keep running.
All right, now on to sit-ems. I've got a sit-em for you guys. We'll continue on with this Jets-Dolphins game. I'd sit Kenny Stills. I know he had a really big week 1, but he only got 5 targets and 75 of his yards came off of a single play. So I think the Jets defense looked pretty good against what I would consider to be a better quarterback in Stafford last week than what Tannehill is. So I expect Kenny Stills and the entire Dolphins passing game to struggle.
Yeah, all right, Stat. I'm going to have to go against you right here, okay? History says that my boy Kenny Stills is going to score a touchdown in this game. The reason I say that, because the last 3 meetings, he scored a touchdown each game against the Jets. Okay, last week the Jets allowed freaking Tate and Kenny G to do pretty well. Come on, man. Kenny Stills is going to be the guy. He's going to score 1 touchdown. And you also have to think about this. The running game at Miami is no bueno. Okay, so what are they going to do? They're going to throw that ball.
Okay. Well, I got a little history for you as well for Kenny Stills. The past 2 seasons, he's never had back-to-back. Actually, he's only had one 100-yard game for the past 2 seasons. Each each season, he's only had one 100-yard game, and he just had his 100-yard game. This past week. So I think that's it for Kenny Stills.
Well, we'll see if it's the Steele or if it's the Drake.
All right. Next guy got. I'm going to sit him because I feel like his week against the Colts last week was a fluke. I'm going to stick by that. It's Joe Mixon versus the Baltimore Ravens, a much tougher run defense. Like I said, Joe had a good matchup. Baltimore will bring him back to earth. If I'm wrong, I swear I will leave you alone, Joe. I'll even go trade for you, I promise.
All right, guys. I got another sit right here. It's Tyrod Taylor. He is not Magic Fitzpatrick, okay? He is not going to repeat what Fitz did against the Saints, okay? So don't even think about it. He is not a sleeper. Bench him. Don't start him. The guy's inconsistent, and history says. So let's pass on to the next one.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I went through the alleys. I went through the bushes. I clicked every other website to see if they had this one. Nobody had this one, okay? A must sit for this week is every Buffalo Bills player. Mic drops.
Oh, man. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's move on.
Wild predictions.
All right. So wild predictions. We come in here. We make a couple of predictions about a couple of different players. I'll go ahead and start it off. Mine is going to be, this is for you, Matt.
Yeah.
Stat guy, Matt. It's your boy, Matt Stafford. He's going to bounce back from a horrendous game. And he's going to throw for 300-plus passing yards and 3 touchdowns against the 49ers, a middle-of-the-pack type defense. 49ers, they're imposters, man. Matt Stafford is going to prove that. Just wait.
All right, my wild prediction is I'm not going to drink no Bud Light this week because I'm going to ride with my boy Lamar Miller because it's Miller time. He's going to rush for about 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. I see the Texans, going up 2 touchdowns against the Titans. They're going to run the ball. I know last year he scored 2 touchdowns. He got one reception and 1 was rushing. So I see him repeating the same thing. And then I also think Texans are going to put another 50 burger.
Oh, 50 burger. I like that.
That is a wild prediction. Hey, since Fourth took my Lions wild prediction for the week, I'll go ahead and I'll continue to pile hate on the Buffalo Bills. It seems to have worked for this episode. So my wild prediction, I'll say the Chargers defense doesn't allow a single touchdown when they visit Buffalo this week.
Hey guys, do you think it's going to come to a point where we stop talking about Buffalo, or they're going to be the laughing stock all year?
Whew, I don't know. We need to get some sort of a Buffalo fail sound effect on the board.
Yeah. We got that. We'll put Buffalo that down. So, and I don't like the Bills ever since they came back against the Oilers. But that's the past. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
It's now time for that part of the show. Ask Week 17.
All right, guys. First of all, I want to say thank you. Keep these questions coming in. We're going to try to get to them as quick as we can. We're going to try to knock them out every week. Just keep sending them. All right. The first question that we had this week was from Joe out of Lubbock. All right. Every year, it seems like there are 1 or 2 trades accepted in my league that send everyone into a frenzy. Yeah, that's happened to me before. All right. What are your thoughts on voting to veto a trade? When it is appropriate, and when should a lopsided trade be allowed to process? All right, guys. So I'm going to go straight to it. Okay. If you make a trade with another person, you're at your own risk, okay? Just make sure you ain't doing none of this BS where you're trying to help somebody out, because that's happened before. Make sure it's a legit thing, okay? I'm not really too big into vetoes, but when I see something fishy going on, I'm going to veto that shit, okay?
All right, our next question coming in here. Somebody's asking us, what's going on, fellas? Long-time listener, first-time emailer, love the podcast. That can't be that. You can't have been listening that long. It's our third episode, but we appreciate the support. Anyway, the question is, what is Bell's trade value? I think we're talking about Le'Veon Bell here. I'll say it's less than it was last week, but I'd still give him like a second-round value. I think you can probably still get something for him. I think he's going to put up big numbers when he comes back. I don't know if we know when that is just yet, but I don't think it's fallen off that much just yet.
So Matt, the caller just called me, shot me a text message, said he was talking about Joik Bell. What's the trade on Joik Bell?
If Joik Bell is on your roster, then you need to get back in your time machine and get back to 2018.
Oh, man. Great. Okay, so I'll take the next question. It looks like it's a question from Ignacio from Nachoville. Okay, Ignacio, I got you. He said, I can't decide who to put as my flex, Alfred Morris, John Brown, or Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler would probably be my pick for that, Mr. Ignacio from Nachoville. He scored more than Melvin Gordon, and they're on the same team, and he's not even the starter. Obviously, they value him as a player. The dude is hot. They're going to try to ride that little hot streak. Definitely roll with Austin Eckler. Next one, this one's anonymous, but it says, what's up with Deshaun Watson? Okay, well, nothing's up with Deshaun Watson. You know, he just had, first game jitters, back from an injury. He's not really feeling himself. He didn't really look too happy out there either. I mean, it could be some kind of personal issue going on or something. I don't know. But definitely he will be back on track versus the Titans. I mean, especially with last year's game, the way he demolished them. I mean, his confidence against the Titans is probably through the roof. So you just wait for that, all right? Make sure you start my boy Watson.
All right, the next question is, why is Derrick Henry never being used in Tennessee? He should be a top 5 back. Guys, he does not fit that system. Do not even start, Henry. You have to bench him. If you get Lewis, or if Lewis is still out there, make sure you get Lewis. Mariota, he's more of a, they're going to if there's going to be some running, he's going to run or he's going to pass it down to a catching running back. But no. And plus, Alabama, he's an Alabama product. When's the last time Alabama had a good running back out there, guys, that actually made it in the NFL?
Probably Ingram, and I think he's almost out of a job now.
Yep, there you go, guys. Nope. So put him away, drop him, do whatever you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. I'll take the next one here since it's another Stafford question. We've got a listener asking, do you start Cousins or Stafford this week? And I do think Stafford will be a little bit better this week. He can't possibly be bad as he was in week 1, but I'm going to surprise some people here. I'm going to go with a fellow Michigan native, a guy that actually graduated from the same high school as me, former Holland Christian Maroon, Kirk Cousins. I think he's already established some good chemistry in Minnesota with some of his weapons, and even in Green Bay this week, I think he'll do well. All right, I'll take the next one too. We got somebody asking for some flex advice. I kind of blew it on this last week, telling you to go to Duke Johnson. I'll see if I can do a little bit better this week. They're asking. They've got Jared Cook, Carlos Hyde, and Jamal Williams for the flex spot. I probably am not ever going to take a tight end over a couple of running backs just because running backs always have the potential to give you more points. So between Hyde and Williams, I'll go with another Browns running back this week. I'll go with Carlos Hyde. I think if Tyrod Taylor continues to play as poorly as he had, the Browns are going to have to lean on the running game. So that bodes well for Hyde.
All right, one of the questions we got here is, should I start Deshaun Watson or Derek Carr? Man, I think that whole Gruden experiment is going to be a fail. Did you see he couldn't even hit no wide receivers, and I'm talking about Carr. He had to go to his tight end. I'm starting Watson because Fuller's back, Hopkins back, and then they're going against Tennessee. Let's do it. Watson all day.
Watson all day. All right. Next question I will take. It's actually the last question we have, unless you guys are getting anything else coming from anywhere else, but I doubt it. Eric Ebron or Jimmy Graham? Fairly simple question, I say. I say Eric, because he is actually going to get used. Jimmy doesn't look like a fave target of Aaron at all. So, definitely roll with Eric.
Yeah. Didn't we speak about Jimmy Graham last week that he was going to be a bust?
Yes.
You guys did.
Mm-hmm. Stats.
sorry, I actually kind of like Jimmy just because in the preseason, him and Rodgers had a nice little chemistry going. But yeah, that looks like that went straight to the trash can.
Yeah, history never lies.
For sure.
All right, guys. Next week we're gonna have our first special guest. His name is Stone Cold Frankie from Austin. He's the current champ to our league. He'll be here trying to duke it out with us. And hey, he's a champion for a reason. Let's get some tips from him.
Should be fun. Make sure we have some Lone Star on ice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just don't spill it.
You know he likes Lone Star. So one thing we really need to do is get you guys to like our Facebook page. Look us up on Facebook, Week17 Fantasy. Just go ahead and search us. We're there. You can just go facebook.com/Week17 Fantasy. YouTube, you'll have to search us, Week17 Fantasy Podcast or Week17 Fantasy Football Podcast. We should come up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And of course, we are on Twitter as well. So you can at us at Week17 Fantasy. And, give us a follow. Every time we have something new out, we'll be posting it on there and you'll get notification right away.
Absolutely. And as always, we're looking for your questions. We got to fill up this Ask Week 17 segment each week. So if you've got something you need to know and you want somebody that can give you an answer, hit us up. You can head over to week17fantasy.com and find the link there.
Awesome. And I guess that does it for this week's show, guys.
Hey, guys, I got a quick one right here. Who y'all picking, the Chiefs or the Steelers this week?
Ooh, go ahead, Stat.
I don't know. The Steelers have to bounce back a little bit. They were embarrassed, I think, last week against the Browns. I guess I'll look for the Steelers to put up a little more of a fight this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll with the Steelers, too. I feel like they never have two bad games in a row.
Yeah, and they're playing at home. They're favored by 4. I'm riding with the Steelers, too.
Yep.
All right, nice. All right, fellas, well, good luck this week. Good luck to all our listeners, and we'll talk to you in week 3. We're out.
All right, see y'all Tuesday.
Adios.
Later.
Peace.